Hey everyone, here with a new special video. I'm in Ticonderoga, New York, where they have a very interesting thing for you, Star Trek fans like myself. Here they have the Star Trek Original Series set tour, and here at the set tour, they have over like 14 years, a gentleman named James Cawley and other members of his like team and crew and fans went and recreated the original Kirk era Enterprise and hallways and the medical lab and the engineering section and the bridge, most importantly. And it's pretty amazing. It's licensed by CBS, so they give the big thumbs up on it. It's pretty impressive what they were able to accomplish. So I'm not allowed to take video on the inside of the actual tour. I can only take still images due to licensing through CBS and Paramount and all of that good stuff. So they'll just be single pictures of what I can be able to take. But if you're ever in this way or vacationing in the Adirondacks, I recommend it. It's kind of the Disney World for Star Trek people. And we just got word this morning that potentially next spring they're going to get into a building here next to the parking lot and start putting in Star Trek: The Next Generation bridge and other rooms and places from that series, which I am very excited to see. And so just wanted to do this fun little video for you guys, maybe who can't travel out here to see it or didn't know anything about it. So stay tuned. Thanks.
Hey, so I figured I would take some pointers from my brother-in-law here and do some voiceover of my pictures, just like he does. So before I get into explaining exactly what you're seeing here, I just want to give you some backstory. About 3 years ago, friends of ours told us about this place in Ticonderoga, New York. And I had heard about it through things on the internet and stuff like that, and I had seen that William Shatner has visited or was going to visit. But I mean, in all seriousness, I kind of thought it was like some guy's garage, and he had hastily or kind of okay recreated the Enterprise, the original series Enterprise bridge, and somehow he got Shatner to come and show up to it, and I just had no interest in exploring that, because to me Ticonderoga is not like a booming location. It's not like Orlando or Los Angeles or New York City. So I kind of ignored it and just didn't do anything about it. So they end up telling me, no, it's so much more than that. It's more than the bridge. It's the medical lab. It's engineering. It's hallways. It's the captain's quarters. It's the conference room. It's so much. And I was like, really? Honestly, that's what it is? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. It's so awesome. So my wife and I found out about it during the pandemic. And a month or two after we found out about it, we took an anniversary trip to Lake Placid, so she got all the sweet, cool, awesome stuff that she wanted, relaxing by the lake, spa, all that good stuff for her. And then we took a hour and a half, 2 hour drive to Ticonderoga and got here, and it's a really small town, and I was really, even though our friends had given us a good recommendation, I was still really apprehensive about this place. But then when we got there and I saw the outside, I was still kind of because it didn't quite look like this when we first showed up 3 years ago. They've been updating it as time has gone on. But then once you go inside, and you'll see, it's legitimately something that you would think you would see in Las Vegas, New York City. Like I said, it's crazy. So let's get into it. I just figured you would appreciate that backstory. How did I find out about this? So this is the front of the building. It's pushed back a little bit from the street, and The parking lot is kind of long, so it's kind of hard to, if you're not looking for it and you don't see the big sign out front, you can kind of drive right by it. It's not right up against the road. But they have like a neon sign, which they added here, I think, a year or two ago, and then they have these little like display things out front. I didn't take a picture of them. This picture was when we were leaving. I was like, oh man, I got to get a picture out front, and I forgot to. So this is the outside. Now normally we would go into underneath where it says the Star Trek thing, where like people are sitting outside. Normally that's where we would enter, and you would go into the gift shop area and like extra display area, which you'll end up seeing. But for this special event, when I went, it was Trekconderoga, which is like their little mini Comic-Con type experience. And you go through the little red door to the left of the shuttle pod there, which I had never done before. So that was a new experience. This is the shuttle pod, and behind it there is the door. So they have like this little thing, and it's for what it is, it kind of looks like a thing you just sit for photo ops and like kids could get into, but it has all these like buttons for sound effects and so on and so forth. So you go into the red door. They have a cool little thing there that I'm not going to talk about right now. And then they talked about that for a little bit. And then you come into a hallway. Now, typically when you come in, you enter through this door that's in. It's the shuttle bay entrance. And you come in through that way. And so usually when you come in, you're like immediately taken to be on the ship. So immediately you can tell like the lighting and everything and the structure, like the construction of this place is pretty impressive. So the room immediately to your left is this room, the transporter room. This is what it looks like. It's pretty impressive. I'm not going to go and like break down everything that the tour guide that goes with you says, because he gives you a ton of information and it's well worth a visit. So I'm not going to try to do their job. So I'm just going to show you the pictures and just tell you what it is. There's a lot of cool information here that they give you. Highly recommend having this tour yourself. So this is the transporter room. Here's my wife and I standing on the transporter pad. This is one of the consoles in the back of the transporter room. And then you get out into the hallway, and they have these things up on the ceiling, and it's hard to explain. It's like these things that hang from the ceiling that they light them so that it gives these really cool light effects on the wall, which here you can see. And it kind of looks like machinery is hanging from the thing. And that's what they did in the 60s. So this whole thing is supposed to be like, what was it like to be an actor on the 1966 Star Trek television series? It's not supposed to be like you're inside the actual USS Enterprise. It's built as if what would it have looked like if you were an actor. And even though that may make some of it not feel as real, it feels more real because it's true to the television series, so it just makes it look so much more like true to it than you would normally think. So that's that. Then they do this cool thing. There's the hallway. It's curved just like it is in the show, so it really, really looks like you're on the Enterprise, like you're in the saucer section. It's pretty awesome. This is another hallway leading to where. So this is where we came in this time. We come in through that red door this time during Trekconderoga. Normally we don't come in through that door, but what's behind that door I'll explain. You'll see pictures of it later. So this is the med room. This is like Dr. McCoy's medical office. That's that. So instead of having like the pulley things, they put like computer programmed screens on. So it's not like the string and marker like they had in the actual show. It is like modernized so that otherwise you'd have to have somebody there 8 hours a day pulling up and down the thing, which is insane. So that's his office. And then you have the med bay here, like where people would lay down, like the more like I think they call it like the ward section of the lab. And again, like this is where they would be. There's like 3 beds in here. It's a lot more expansive. There were just people in the room. I tried not to get them in the shot. This is the conference room. They had a lot of props and things from the show on the table. They had the computer. They had like three-dimensional chess. They had a whole bunch of stuff, um, as you can see in these pictures here. And then they had like the switches and the communicator tabs to like press and talk to people. Um, the cool thing is, and also kind of terrifying thing is, they tell you not to touch pretty much items and switches. They're things from World War II, from like aircraft and things of that nature, that obviously they are not being recreated, so they don't want you to touch them. And then they had Spock's loot, which on the back had signatures from people from the original series who had visited the set. So I think on there is William Shatner, George Takei, I think Nichelle Nichols. I can't remember. I'd have to look at it, but yeah. Then you go into like the other part of, it's like now Dr. McCoy's like office, and they had a lot of props in there, and then like more of his office. And then you had, I think this is like considered like the science lab, and they had a whole bunch of props and things from the series there. And then they had these things up on the wall, which are styrofoam typewriter cases that they just like painted, which is really cool. And then they had the, like, basically they had one quarter, and they just changed out what was in it and the way they filmed it, like what side of the quarter they did. So it was either Kirk's quarter, Spock's quarters, or Uhura's quarters. It was just, they just redressed it. So this is the bed, and then this is the other side. Yeah, so this room is set up to be like Kirk's quarters right now, and that gold chest there in this picture is actually from the original series. There's a cool backstory to it, well, how it's here on the table. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but for it to have been on the show and then to be here in Ticonderoga, it's a pretty cool story. Then this is like more of the science lab. As I walked by, I got that shot. And then there's the lights up on top of the walls to give you the cool like Star Trek show feel. Then there is the Jeffries tube. So I have a very heroic, silly pose of me looking up the Jeffries tube. Obviously, they didn't call it that in 1966. They just called them like, I think like engineer like maintenance shaft or something like that. But we all know that's what they are now. So there's that. Then this is just end of the corridor just to make it look like something's there. I don't think anything is behind the red door that we can see as a tour. I'm sure there's stuff for the people who are making the stuff, but I don't think we're ever over there can go in there. It might give people access to go around, to go up on a ladder and take pictures looking down the Jeffries tube, so you get like a more cool Star Trek shot. Then this is like the other like access ladders that are in the show, and then this is the door into engineering, and then this is engineering. I know it's a little crooked. I was walking when I took it, but this is engineering. It looks super crazy, but that's just like an optical illusion with where the warp engine is. And then this is where the dilithium crystal is in the center. And then these are the consoles on the side, which is pretty awesome. It's a huge room, and this is usually where Scotty or any other engineer sits. And that all flashes and bleeps and bloops. And then you walk, so you cut through this like area, and you walk up this corridor, and it ends up into the turbo lift, which obviously this is where they did all of the coming onto the bridge scenes or going into the turbo lift. And there's the pulley system, where that's what they do. They pull on this string, a pulley system, and the doors open just like they do in the show. And then you come on out to the bridge, and the bridge is quite impressive. Everything is lit up, and things are blinking and flashing. The screens are modernized, and they have like space things on them and star fields and Star Trek looking things on them. And you have all the stations of all the bridge crew are there, and they have like the little symbols on the wall and the plaque, and they have like where Scotty is. They just have everything. And here's a picture of me looking through the engineering section. I think it's like a sensor scanner thing. It's me looking through that, and then my wife looking through that, and then there's me in the captain's chair. Pretty awesome. So in the next picture, this is normally what you see going into it. You walk into this. This is like an area. This is like a waiting area. Like if the place is full or they're lining people up. Like this is like a first entrance area. So you come in. They have little cool things here like information boards for Ticonderoga and like the Adirondacks. That's what that thing over there. And then when you go in, they have the same pulley system, and you would go through there. But now they've built the next generation holodeck arch, so it looks like you're going into a holodeck recreation of Kirk's Enterprise. So you go in through that, and then you would start by the transporter like normal. But when you come in, there's like a big model of the Enterprise, the original series Enterprise, out there, and it's just like a big room of like random original series memorabilia that they've collected over the years, and just things up on the wall. And it's like there's a little gift shop with like shirts and toys and buttons and things like that, and I think like books and some DVDs or something like that. So it's pretty cool. But here's the thing. This is the thing that I'm like wicked jazzed for. When we go through the red door, now last year we got like a sneak peek because our tour guide likes us, and he's not with them anymore, and we've had him a couple times. His name's Drew, and he gave us this little sneak peek. So this time when we came in through the red door, there was no like, hey, come with me, I'll show you something cool. It was like, no, we're just showing you this thing. So when we go into the red door on the outside, like I had said earlier, they come in and they show you this. They show you the back wall of the next generation Enterprise D bridge. All of that stuff, I know in this picture it doesn't do it, all of that stuff is animated. The screens move, they show, it's insane. It also, it's flashing red, like red alert is on. You don't hear any noises or anything, but for me, this is the thing I'm waiting for. I love seeing all of the original series Kirk stuff. It's super awesome, and it's fascinating, and it's like super fun to learn about all the nifty little things that they did to get things to like sell. Like some of the things that McCoy uses to like scan people are like Denmark modeled like salt and pepper shakers, but they don't look like that. They look like cool space stuff. So it's little things like that I like, but this is my childhood, and I cannot wait for them to build the bridge. Now they're built according to what I heard from the tour guide from last year, and I think even the year prior. Like they start the first thing they do is like they build the bridge, but then eventually, as time goes on, like they did with the original series, they build more. So they're going to build, like, probably, I would assume, hallways, turbo lifts, the conference room. They may even build 10 forward. They'll probably build Picard's quarters. And they said in the building that they're hoping to get by next spring, that's right next to the parking lot, they're going to have engineering. A 2-floor engineering where the warp core goes. That's their goal. Now they may not get that to happen, but like they're talking about it, and they want to do it. So that is super encouraging to me. And they told us this cool little fact, which some of you may know, that on the LaCar screen, which is this little computer system on the Enterprise, there's like abbreviations for the actors and like producers and creators. So it's like Gene Roddenberry, Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes. They're all like the little letters here on the little squares are like actors and producers and creators like abbreviated names. It's a little like insider secret thing. And then they have here, as you see, ops and helm. So it's just like pushed over in a corner, and it's just against like a curtain, but it's there, and they're not that far away from getting more and more done. They've already, because you can see they've made like chairs and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So a part of this Trekconderoga thing not only was the tour, but you could go to the high school, Ticonderoga High School, and they had panels. One was with the creator of, here you can see him here, the creator of this, James Cawley. He did a panel. So that's where I have like all this extra information about them, hoping to get in next spring, and that they're going to start, if they can get in, they're going to start building and going forward. And he really went into great lengths about it. Like, he didn't hold anything back. He didn't try to hide anything. He wasn't being secretive or anything. He was very, very, he took a long time talking about it, which was great. If you think he looks a little different or silly, it's because on the side he's an Elvis impersonator. So he does that. So that's why he has like big sideburns and like a pompadour kind of haircut. So that was really cool. And then they also had John Delancey, Q from Star Trek The Next Generation and other shows. He was there, and he talked a lot, and he gave us really cool insight into the writers and actors strike that's happening right now, and really broke it down for us as, viewers, what's really happening with them out there. And it was really educational and really nice. And a lot of the people were kind of silly, and they asked him some silly questions, but he was really kind and humble about it. And then basically the whole reason I pushed to do this, like specifically on this weekend, was Jonathan Frakes was there. And we missed like the first 20-30 minutes of it just because of traveling and registration, but we still caught a good chunk of it. And yeah, so awesome. It was so great. He just talked about things from Next Generation and just his life and directing, and it was really, really, really cool. It was a fun time. So
That was some of the Star Trek set tour. We had a good group, so it was hard to get a lot of decent pictures without people in it. Tried to get a lot of clear pictures without people standing around. We didn't really want to take pictures of people without them knowing. I know it's kind of a normal thing, but I'm not a big fan of that. So here we are. We're in the shuttle pod Galileo from the original series. It makes effects. Fire anything I want. So thanks for watching. Just wanted to give this little treat to the fans who appreciate Star Trek in general. Again, if you can somehow travel to Ticonderoga, it's 112 Montcalm Street here in downtown Ticonderoga. It's a great place, and I tell you, even if you're not a big fan of the Trek series or the original series, it's just a great little fun little tour, little experience for fans of Star Trek, and really the only place to go right now. They don't have Star Trek experience anymore in Las Vegas, so this is kind of our place. So thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed it. Like if you liked, dislike if you dislike, share, comment, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Stay tuned for another Retrek review. It should be coming out in a couple days. Thanks again, guys. See you.